Ancient Egypt, a land of mystery and grandeur. The Nile River, a lifeline, flowed through the desert. Egyptians worshipped many gods. They believed in life after death. Pharaohs ruled as gods on earth. They built magnificent tombs and temples. These monuments still stand today. Akhenaten was born into this world. He would challenge its very foundations. He would become a pharaoh unlike any other. Akhenaten would change this forever. Amenhotep IV was born in Thebes around 1380 BC. His father was Amenhotep III, a powerful pharaoh. His mother was Queen Tiye, a woman of great influence. Amenhotep IV grew up surrounded by luxury and splendor. He received a royal education. This fascination would shape his destiny. Amenhotep III ruled for almost 40 years. His reign was a time of peace and prosperity, but as he grew old, his grip on power weakened. Amenhotep IV, as the crown prince, took on more responsibilities. He learned the art of governance. He prepared for the day he would rule Egypt. Around 1353 BC, Amenhotep III died. Amenhotep IV ascended to the throne. He inherited a stable and prosperous kingdom, but change was coming. The new pharaoh had a vision. His reign would change the course of Egyptian history. The young pharaoh, Amenhotep IV, observed the elaborate rituals dedicated to the multitude of Egyptian gods. He began to question the necessity of such intricate practices. The concept of a single, all-encompassing divine force, like the sun god Ra, appealed to his sense of order and reason. He yearned for a simpler, purer form of worship. He saw the sun as a manifestation of a universal force. His vision was radical, a stark departure from centuries of Egyptian religious tradition. In the early years of his reign, Amenhotep IV began subtly promoting the worship of the Aten. The Aten, represented as a solar disk with rays extending downwards, emphasized the life-giving aspect of the sun. The pharaoh commissioned hymns and poems praising the Aten. He presented himself as the sole intermediary between the Aten and the people. He argued that the Aten was the only true god. This marked a significant departure from traditional Egyptian polytheism. The priesthood viewed these changes with suspicion. Their influence and wealth were threatened. A clash was inevitable. To solidify his religious revolution, Amenhotep IV made a bold decision. He would build a new city, a grand capital dedicated to the Aten. This city, named Akhetaten, meaning horizon of the Aten, would be a testament to his vision. The site chosen for Akhetaten was a virgin stretch of land on the eastern bank of the Nile River. Construction began on a massive scale. Temples, palaces, administrative buildings and residential areas rose from the desert sands. Sunlight, the physical manifestation of the Aten, flooded the city. Akhetaten was more than just a new capital. It was a bold statement. Around the 6th year of his reign, Amenhotep IV made a dramatic decision. He changed his name to Akhenaten. This meant effective for the Aten. This symbolic act signaled a complete break from the past. Akhenaten declared that the Aten was the one true god. All other gods were to be abolished. He ordered their images removed from temples. He diverted funds to build temples dedicated to the Aten. The priesthood, especially the priests of Amun, were furious. He would create a new Egypt dedicated to the Aten. Akhenaten's religious revolution extended to the realm of art. He ordered a dramatic shift in artistic styles. Traditional Egyptian art was highly stylized and symbolic. Akhenaten wanted art that reflected the realism and naturalism of the Aten. This new artistic style, known as the Amarna style, was characterized by elongated figures and curved lines. It also featured scenes of daily life, such as the royal family at home. The Amarna style was a radical departure from tradition. It was a powerful tool that helped to spread Akhenaten's message throughout Egypt. Akhetaten, the city built by Akhenaten, was a testament to his vision. It was designed to be open and spacious with wide avenues and large open spaces. Sunlight, the manifestation of the Aten, flooded the city. The temples of the Aten were open to the sky. Life in Akhetaten was different from life in other Egyptian cities. The people were encouraged to live simply and to focus on the worship of the Aten. Akhenaten and his family were often depicted in scenes of domesticity. Akhenaten saw himself as the father of his people. While Akhenaten dedicated himself to the Aten and his new city, the traditional power structures of Egypt watched with growing unease. The priesthood, especially the wealthy and influential priests of Amun, saw their influence waning. Stripped of their traditional roles, they represented a formidable opposition. The vast bureaucracy also felt the impact of Akhenaten's reforms. This neglect, coupled with the religious upheaval, created a sense of uncertainty and instability. Whispers of discontent began to circulate. Beyond the borders of Egypt, the Hittites were expanding their influence. The seeds of unrest were sown, threatening the stability of Akhenaten's reign. Akhenaten's religious revolution had a profound impact on the lives of ordinary Egyptians. For centuries, they had worshipped a multitude of gods. The Aten, in contrast, was a distant and abstract deity. This created a gulf between the pharaoh's vision and the lived experience of the Egyptian people. While some embraced the new religion, many clung to the old ways. This undercurrent of resistance would prove significant in the years to come. The shift to Atenism had far-reaching consequences for Egyptian society. The closure of temples dedicated to the traditional gods led to economic hardship. The redirection of resources towards the construction of Akhetaten further strained the economy. The social hierarchy was also disrupted. The common people felt the impact of these changes. The seeds of discontent began to take root. While Akhenaten focused on his religious reforms, the world beyond Egypt's borders was changing. The Hittites were expanding their influence, encroaching on Egyptian territories. Traditionally, Egyptian pharaohs had been expected to defend the empire. Akhenaten, however, seemed more concerned with his new city. This indifference had serious consequences. Akhenaten's inward focus jeopardized the future of the empire. The reign of Akhenaten was marked by a remarkable royal partnership. Akhenaten's wife, Nefertiti, played an unprecedented role in his reign. She embraced Akhenaten's religious reforms with fervor. In numerous reliefs and sculptures, she is shown alongside Akhenaten. Nefertiti's influence extended beyond the religious sphere. This unprecedented level of female power speaks volumes about Akhenaten's unconventional reign. Akhenaten and Nefertiti had 6 daughters, their births celebrated in grand style at Akhetaten. These daughters, far from being relegated to the background, featured prominently in the art and iconography of the Amarna period. They were often depicted alongside their parents, playing in the gardens of the palace, receiving the blessings of the Aten, and participating in religious ceremonies. Their names, such as Meritaten, meaning beloved of the Aten, and Ankhesenpaten, meaning she lives for the Aten, reflected their parents' devotion to the sun god. The emphasis on family life, particularly the prominent role of the royal daughters, marked a significant departure from earlier dynastic art, which typically focused on the pharaoh's power and divine authority. Akhenaten, it seems, saw his daughters as living embodiments of the Aten's blessings, their presence a testament to the joy and harmony he envisioned for his new city and his new religion. Their images, often depicted with the same elongated limbs and almond-shaped eyes as their parents, served as constant reminders of the pervasiveness of the Aten's influence, extending even to the most private aspects of royal life. The art and iconography of the Amarna period reveal a fascinating interplay between religion and domesticity. Akhenaten's vision of Atenism was not confined to grand temples. He sought to integrate his faith into daily life, particularly within the royal family. Scenes of Akhenaten, Nefertiti and their daughters conveyed warmth and intimacy. These portrayals reinforced the royal family as the embodiment of Aten's blessings. The Aten's rays caressing the royal family underscored divine love and protection. Despite the image of familial bliss projected in Amarna, art whispers of uncertainty and tragedy swirled around the royal family. The fate of Nefertiti in particular has been the subject of much debate and speculation. After years of prominence, her image abruptly disappears from official records around Akhenaten's 12th year of rule. The reasons for her disappearance remain shrouded in mystery. Some scholars believe she may have died, perhaps in childbirth or during an epidemic that swept through Egypt. Others speculate that she fell out of favor with Akhenaten, perhaps for opposing some aspect of his increasingly radical religious policies. Still others suggest she assumed a new identity, perhaps even ruling as pharaoh in her own right under the name Smenkhare, a shadowy figure whose reign overlapped with Akhenaten's final years. The lack of conclusive evidence has fueled endless speculation, making Nefertiti's later life as enigmatic as the pharaoh she served so faithfully. Her sudden disappearance from the historical record only adds to the intrigue surrounding this remarkable woman, leaving us to wonder about her true fate and the full extent of her influence on Akhenaten's reign. Akhetaten, the horizon of the Aten, rose from the desert sands as a testament to Akhenaten's vision. Located on the east bank of the Nile River, this new capital city was dedicated entirely to the worship of the Aten. Unlike the crowded, labyrinthine cities of ancient Egypt, Akhetaten was spacious and open, its wide avenues and grand temples bathed in sunlight. The city was designed to be in harmony with nature. The Aten, as the sun god, was the source of all life. Akhetaten reflected this belief. The streets were laid out on a grid system. This allowed the sun's rays to reach every corner of the city. The buildings were constructed using mud brick. This was a departure from the traditional stone used in most Egyptian cities. Mud brick was quicker and cheaper to produce. This allowed for rapid construction. The temples were open to the sky, allowing the Aten's rays to penetrate every corner. Akhetaten was a city of light and air, a stark contrast to the enclosed, shadowy temples of the old gods. Akhenaten's religious revolution brought a dramatic shift in artistic styles. Traditional Egyptian art was highly stylized and symbolic. Akhenaten encouraged a more naturalistic approach. The Amarna style was characterized by movement and emotion. Human figures had elongated limbs and curved lines. Akhenaten was often portrayed in unconventional ways. The Amarna style was a radical departure from tradition. Amarna's enduring influence. Akhetaten, for all its grandeur, was short-lived. After Akhenaten's death, the city was abandoned. Traditional religious practices were restored. Akhenaten's name was struck from the official lists. His successors dismantled his temples and scattered the stones. But Akhetaten resurfaced, offering a glimpse into a forgotten era. The discovery in the late 19th century caused a sensation. The city's unique art and revolutionary practices captured the world's imagination. Akhenaten was re-evaluated as a visionary or a tyrant. The Amarna style had a lasting impact on Egyptian art. Its elongated limbs and expressive faces continue to fascinate. The fall of Akhetaten. Akhenaten's religious reforms faced resistance, especially from the powerful priesthoods. Economic strain and neglect of foreign affairs contributed to the city's decline. After Akhenaten's death, his successors abandoned Akhetaten to restore stability. Temples were dismantled, statues smashed, and the city's name erased. The abandonment marked the end of an era, a reminder of the fragility of dreams. Akhenaten's reign was short-lived. He ruled for 17 years, then he vanished. His successors tried to erase his memory. They destroyed his monuments, but Akhenaten could not be completely forgotten. The city of Amarna, though abandoned, remained, a time of radical change and religious upheaval. He became a figure of fascination and debate. Was he a visionary, a madman, a heretic? Akhenaten's motives remain shrouded in mystery. His reign was a time of both great innovation and great turmoil. He challenged the very foundations of Egyptian society. He introduced a new religion. He revolutionized art, but his reforms were too radical. They were met with resistance and ultimately failed. Akhenaten's legacy is complex and contradictory. He left an indelible mark on Egyptian history. Akhenaten's enduring influence. Despite attempts to erase him, Akhenaten's influence echoed through time. The Amarna style impacted Egyptian art with its realism and emotion. His religious ideas, though unsuccessful, influenced later beliefs. This is debated among scholars. Akhenaten's reign marked a turning point in Egyptian history. The ruins of Amarna stand as a testament to his vision. He dared to challenge the status quo.